Where'd he go?
Take it away, Mike.
All right. Hey, guys. Well, for guys and girls, I always say that tongue-in-cheek, I guess. But, hey, my name is Mike Healy. I want to thank you guys very much for taking time out of your schedules. We're in the middle of the afternoon in most places here on the we're 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But real excited to have our guest on today. You haven't heard him for a couple weeks, but we've got Jim Sharon, as Rick calls him affectionately, the Minister of Energy, because of his extensive background and obviously the track record of all the things that he's been doing with Avion for, I think it's been almost 8 years now. We're excited to be partnered up with these guys, and we've got a lot of great things going on with energy. And before I introduce you to Jim and get him rolling, I think it's awesome that we can start recognizing some people for some of the stuff that's been going on. We've got some really cool things that have happened. Our actual top 3 producers are Steve Jolly, Mario, I hope I can pronounce his name correctly, Gambescia, I think I may have butchered that, Rick, sorry, Gambescia, and Mike McLean. And they're actually all in Pennsylvania. I mean, I know we've got people scattered throughout the United States, but currently our top 3 people are really rocking it out. And I'm going to actually have Jim tell you, because Jim did all the work on helping another guy named John close one of our bigger deals on here. But Jim, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But Jim, I want to introduce everybody to you. There's a lot of new people probably on the call. Or, maybe they're going to hear this recording later or watch the video of it, whatever, that maybe don't know who you are. But, Jim Sharon, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background? We'll keep that brief because we do have some of that content on our website already. And then maybe tell us a little bit about, some of these deals that have gone through and what you're starting to see and how it's really starting to increase. And there's, a lot of people really making this process very simple, which is, it really is. So, everybody, I'm going to introduce you to the Minister of Energy, Mr. Jim Sharon.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the introduction, the invite to the call. And I do have to say that, Avion's been in business now. We're in our 8th year. We were doing some things before Bidpoint came along, but we're especially pleased to have the relationship, the partnership with Bidpoint. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. For those of you on the call, and maybe this is the first time you've had a chance to dial in and listen to me talk, but, you've got some great leaders in Mike Healy and Rick Moore and, many others out in the field that, just doing a great job, entrepreneurs at heart, and, grab hold of them and learn from them and just be consistent in your activities. And, the things that they've lined up will, just afford you some success. Whatever it is you want to make it. You can dream as big as you want to in terms of incomes because the energy business, in addition to, the cash for discount program and trash and recycling, if you think about it, those are essential services that every business needs if they want to be in business. They got to have those 3 things. And, you guys have a distinct advantage in that, you can offer all 3. So if you get a client interested in one, you start earning an income as you go ahead and add those other services. But anyways, I need to focus on energy because that's what they've invited me here today to talk about. Mike wanted me to talk about some of the deals that are coming in, and one of the more recent ones, glass company that they use a lot of energy, and the sales agent that reached out to someone that he knew there, and they were more than happy to let him have the business. And it wasn't just because he was a nice guy and he's got a pretty smile or any of those things. It was the fact that he was offering a service that is unique and just made their life easier. The truth of the matter is most businesses don't do a good job of energy procurement. And the main reason is that they just don't have the tools available to get it done, in a very efficient manner, in a very extensive way, which is what they need to do to find the best price. Anybody can go out there and get 3 prices from energy suppliers. That's still kind of a hassle to go call 3 different salespeople and have them come by and get things to you, and then you got to try to figure out, which one's better, and you got to read through 6, 7 pages of a contract to see if there's something, to make all of this make sense and be an apple-to-apples comparison. That we do all of that for you. And, over the last 8 years, we created some patent-pending technology that sets us apart from everyone in the industry. And we do such an extensive of energy procurement that we find the best price, not just somebody coming back to them and saying, hey, the best price I found for you is X. Well, that might be they only had one price, still was the best price they found, but we actually put it all on a piece of paper called a rate comparison sheet, and it comes in an email, so if they could print it out, it would be on paper, but it comes in an email, and it's going to list the names of the companies, it's going to list their prices, and the unique thing is that all those suppliers know that I'm putting their names, their prices, right alongside their competitors on this sheet of paper, this rate comparison chart, and the only hope they have of winning the business is to have the best price on that sheet, because we do away with all of the smoke and mirrors, all the trickery that goes on in the industry. When their number goes on our sheet, it's an apple-to-apple comparison of themselves against their competitors. And it simplifies the decision-making process for the consumer. They can clearly see who's got the best price. And, if you've got somebody that works for a company, if it's the owner, he's going to love it because he doesn't have to pay somebody, one of his employees, to actually spend their time, calling all these companies, getting prices, trying to figure it all out. We do all that heavy lifting for them. If it's somebody whose job it is to be involved in that process somehow, well, gosh, you just made your friend in that business. You made them look really, really good because they're going to present this energy rate comparison that their company's never seen before, and it's got, could have 5, it could have 12, it could have 20 different energy suppliers. Just depends on which market and the number of competitors in that market that want to bid on that. But we have relationships with over 70 energy suppliers right now, and we send it out to all those that are licensed in that utility company and get prices back. So we do a job that they can't find anywhere else. A business owner would never, ever pay their employee to go get prices from 17 companies. He's not going to do that. It just costs him way too much to get that done. But our technology allows us to do that in an automatic way, an automated way. And so he gets to take advantage of the literally hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've spent on creating this technology. He gets access to that for free. So, does that make sense or what? We create something that, John, who I'm thinking of right now, went to this glass company. We were able to deliver this rate comparison chart that showed more companies than they'd ever asked for pricing, easily determine who's got the best price. It was kind of a seamless opportunity for this company to do, because we don't charge them. They've never pulled out their checkbook or credit card to pay us in advance. We do all this work for free. Once they enter into a contract with an energy supplier, they pick somebody from that list. It's usually the one with the lowest price. And we go ahead and arrange the contracts for them to sign, get the notice in to the utility company when that starts flowing, when their existing contract ends. And then it's going to start creating an income to Avion, to Bidpoint, to the sales agent who put the deal together. And, over 8-year track record of success and growth, I have to tell you that, we've seen all different sorts of people with all different kinds of background coming and working on a very part-time basis. And, gosh, I just have all kinds of stories. And that's really, I think, defines our success, is hearing the success of these different sales agents. I've got quite a few that we're making. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Would you mind sharing the savings, or is that not something on that glass thing? Because it was kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, wasn't it like $300,000? Am I remembering that correctly? I don't have those numbers right in front of me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I was talking with Rick, and I'm like, man, they got to give. First off, I'm glad we're going to be paying John the money that we're paying him, for bringing this deal to the table. But the guy that actually got to sign the papers, I mean, that guy should probably get a raise just for that. I mean, that's a lot of money for a company to save, and all they did was just basically let you guys use the patent-pending software that you guys put together and the relationships you've built with these other suppliers. And, I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a house.
It is. It's a lot. And, we don't necessarily find that much savings every single time. And part of the reason for that one is because they consume a lot of energy. If you're making glass, they're using a lot of energy in that whole process to do that. And, but it's that kind of thing. We find the best price. I guarantee you this company, just looking at what they've done in the past, many times, they're busy making glass. They're not spending as much time, doing everything else. I had one of our other really large accounts that, they just this one account was paying a commission to sales agent of about $6,000 a month. Big company, about 20 locations around the country. And when I went to meet with the guy responsible for doing this, he was asking me a lot of questions, and we were talking about what we do. I wanted to make sure he understood the uniqueness of what we do and the relationship they could have with us. And he wasn't even all that interested in how much money we were saving them, because they're making boatloads of money every single month. And it was the time and the energy of doing this energy procurement job was the key thing for them. But, most of us, myself included, when we're out selling, we come across those opportunities where we're saving a company like this glass company $300,000. It's just, it makes you feel good when you do something like that for a company. And, that company is going to continue to use your service, because once they experience and once they go through it, no matter if it's a dry cleaner or a glass company like this, or, a whole school system or a municipality, it doesn't matter, who the company is. Once they go through the process, they realize, man, that's amazing that they're able to get me all those prices in an apple-to-apples comparison. They take care of everything from getting the contract in front of me to sign. I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. I'm going to keep using these guys. And over 8 years, we have a 91% retention rate with our clients, which, for you guys on the call today listening in, or anybody listening to the recording, you would know that that's key to your long-term success. Because once you get a client, if you do the simple, small, basic things, when their contracts are coming up for renewal, we promise them we'll help manage that whole process. And so 90, 120 days in advance of their contract coming up for renewal, we start our process all over again.
Hey, can I talk to you about that for a second, Jim, while you're on that?
Yes.
Actually, I was going to ask you that, but you brought it up, so you beat me to the punch. Back to that glass manufacturing. So our buddy John, he gets this contract, he gets this savings, they got all this. They signed about a 3-year contract, correct?
That's correct.
So John's going to get paid for the next, 36 months on a deal that took him a little bit of time to get done. And now, on top of that, when time for renewal comes up, you guys are going to take care of that. And if they go ahead and do it again, John's going to get another check for however many years it comes out, correct?
That is correct. Yep. Keeps getting paid. We're going to ask John to go back and
go ahead.
That's it. We're going to ask John to go back and see that customer, get their most recent billing statement at that point, to be able to use the information on that billing statement to send it out for bid again with all the energy suppliers. And that's about all the work that he ends up having to do once it's in place. Now, John being a smart guy, is probably going to be in touch with him on, not every month. You don't want to be bugging them or be a pest or anything like that. But, a couple times a year, you're in touch with them for some reason. The guy there, it's Christmas time or something. Say Merry Christmas. You're getting a check every month. Let them know you're still around. And, do those sorts of things. Different people have done all kinds of things from, trying to, they find out somebody's birthday, make sure they're sending a birthday card. Or one guy I know that, he knows the rate that they're paying for energy. And then when rates go up, he sends them a note saying, hey, it was a good decision you made when you signed that contract because it's now our X, and you locked in for 3 years for, the lower price. Just anything to kind of stay in touch so that 3 years later they don't think like, well, now who's this guy? What's that all about? Especially if somebody, people change all the time at companies. Somebody moves on to a new job somewhere else, and so you want to keep a relationship. But the key thing is building that long-term residual income. Once you have that client in place and the system that we've created, not only to initially get them prices, but then to follow up and manage the renewal of that contract, it's just a huge thing. Most companies don't do that well. And I think that probably ends up being one of the biggest areas of savings that we run into is companies that, they don't know when their contract expired, they're out of contract, and then what happens is energy suppliers take advantage of them because the fine print of the contract that they originally signed says that once their fixed rate contract expires, then they're going to be on a month-to-month rate, and they're able to continue to raise that rate over time. We had a significant hotel here in Atlanta. We actually met at that hotel on a monthly basis for a sales meeting, and one of our sales agents, Kerry, would go every single month, and he'd go find the general manager, and he was trying to get a billing statement from the guy. And the manager kept telling him, hey, I do all this. I like doing the negotiations and everything. I take care of all this. We got good prices. Don't worry about it. But Kerry was persistent. Next month we had a meeting, go back again, and he'd ask the guy, hey, just give me a billing statement. You don't know if we could do something better for you unless you let us try. So, finally, after about 4 or 5 months, I think the guy probably gave him a billing statement just so, he could get rid of him. Well, it turns out we went, got some pricing for him. The guy was out of contract, didn't even know it. We saved them over $100,000 a year. This was a Holiday Inn. They did have a pool. They did have a restaurant, but it wasn't like one of those 30-story tall hotels. It was a 2- or 3-story hotel, substantial sized building, but we saved them over $100,000 a year. And the guy thought he was doing a good job. He just didn't know. And so, you just got to sometimes be a little persistent. They won't know unless they let us try getting some pricing for them. And, they don't have to risk anything. We didn't ask them to pay us any money to go do this. So it's just kind of a no-brainer. That's Joe and I, when we developed the system, wanted to make it to where, an energy consumer, a business owner, some business couldn't say no to us. And that's what we did. But, Mike, I got to watch the time here too. I was thinking about this because I mentioned, we got a lot of people making over $1,000 a month. Some of them, have got mid-sized accounts. They got just a whole bunch of them. Some of them, got like the one account I told you, that the one account pays like $6,000 in commission a month because it's a big one. Don't be afraid to go talk to bigger companies. They probably need our service even more than, the local dry cleaner. The same process, the same questions you're going to ask somebody are going to be for the big client just like it is for the little client. You just might need a little more courage if you're not used to doing that or you don't have the kind of relationships in big companies. But just go for it. You'll be all right. And if we can help coach you along the way, let us know. But, if you wanted to have $1,000 a month, ongoing, month after month, $1,000, and you didn't have something like your Bidpoint business, Another way you could do this is you could save up money, save up as much money, put it in the bank. Banks right now, CDs, they're not very much. They're 1% or sometimes lower. Maybe you find some bank that's paying you 2%. Do you know how much money you'd have to eventually save up to get $1,000 every single month? You'd need $600,000 in the bank to be able to get $1,000 at 2%. So think of it. How long would it take you to save up $600,000 to be able to make that $1,000 a month? The other thing you do, instead of trying to pinch pennies or whatever you do to save up that money, is just simply go ask some business owners, hey, let me do energy procurement for you. I know Mike's got a great 8-second question that's so simple, and the business owner, what's he going to say? No?
Let me throw that out there while we're talking about it.
Yeah, share that with him, Mike.
Yeah, sure. I've used this for a long time, and I've taught everybody to use it because it's such an easy question to ask, and it goes like this. You are, as an example, you're walking into your let's say your friend's business, maybe he owns a pizza place, and you run into him afterwards and say, oh, by the way, hey, Jim, I don't know if I could help you or not, but if you'll give me a copy of last month's utility bills, I can have them analyzed for free, see if you're being overcharged. It really takes about 8 seconds to get that question out of your mouth, and analyzed for free to see if you're being overcharged are kind of the key words there that has really helped everybody, or a lot of people, grab and snag those accounts. And then really the process is pretty simple. I know we're about short on time here because I know we just want to keep this quick. But the process is simple. You get a handful of billing statements, download the forms we got in the back office, get some permission to sign over that we can do an analysis for you. And the key thing is, you mentioned this earlier, Jim, is that whole patent pending process of what you guys have put together, the ability to shop those other suppliers out. So we're actually giving the customer a non-biased quote. This isn't us working for one supplier. We're working for the client, which is the most important thing, and a lot of people don't understand that. And if you emphasize that, you're going to get a lot more bills and understand that. And understand that we're paid through the supplier. The suppliers pay us, not the customer. It doesn't come out of the customer's bill or anything like that. It's all on the supplier. So and the cool part is, and you probably agree with me, Jim, on this, is because we've got all these people kind of, quote unquote, bidding against each other, the cheaper we can get it, the better it works for us. So,
yeah.
The best pricing we can find for these clients makes them happier and happier. And like Jim said, we keep them on the books for a long time. Your track record of success has been fantastic, and I know you guys have, recently closed some deals that are just obnoxiously large, that are life-changing for people. So that's what's awesome. So, Jim, you got any more comments here before we kind of close her out?
Well, Mike, I know that a lot of people, I'm not 100% sure of the audience today, but if there's people out there that are, really new to Bidpoint and dialing in, perhaps listening, hearing me for the first time, I just want you to know that, what one man can do, anyone can do. So there have been lots of people come before you that have been successful in, getting a client on the books and continuing to get paid month after month, month after month. Some of them, for whatever reason, they stop when they make $50. We've got, a whole bunch of people that make $300, $400, $500, $600 a month. They use this to pay their car bill or their car payment or, however they want to spend the money. But whatever level of success that you decide is what you can create here. And I want you to know that there's really no limit. There's going to be some guys here that are going to be making, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. If that's what you want to do, you just have to go build a big enough book of business. And the nice thing about it is it's not the kind of job like if you went out selling cars, selling real estate, where you got to go find a new customer every time you want to get paid again. Because every client you put on the books, you keep getting paid month after month, month after month. And then you add more clients, and your income goes up, and it keeps going month after month, year after year. And so, I don't know, it always made more sense to me to be doing something, spending my time and effort doing something where I continue to get paid versus having to start over every Monday, every day when I wake up, go look for a new client.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, I appreciate you taking time. I know you're a busy guy, but in a good sense. You're out there working hard for all of our, Bidpoint advisors, and really thank you very much for taking time to be on the call today. And I want to say thank you for everybody that, again, jumped on here, or if you're hearing this for the recording, we're going to get this out, or hopefully you've heard it again, and, you can kind of understand what we're doing here. Understand, hey, become a part of Bidpoint if you're hearing this for the first time, or you've got people out there you're thinking of. This is definitely something to offer them, because we're basically a business solutions company offering business solutions on essential services that companies have to have. We're doing everything from the energy side, the waste side, credit card processing, and really making an impact on helping businesses grow, focus on growing their businesses, as opposed to getting, hammered on these other things, nickel and dimed in most cases. We're really offering services that they have to have, and we're doing it at at really great rates, and so on. So, Rick, thank you very much for, hosting this and getting this thing rolling today. And then, obviously, there's another call that we'll have probably next week. We're going to have another guest on here, so be on the lookout for that. But, Jim, thanks again for being on here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Well, everybody have a great one, and we will see you on the other side. Thanks.